We are a community full of stories. Stories told not by service providers or integrators or even companies. Stories told by amazing people. These are stories of triumph, stories of challenges, but mostly stories with a lot of laughter. I've been lucky enough to hear these stories. This is your show. These are your stories. Welcome to Pax8 Live Journeys. Everybody at their core wants to do great work. They want to be successful, to be able to stand behind something they've created or they've built with pride. Welcome to Pax8 Live Journeys. You know, Denver, Colorado is a long ways from Auckland, New Zealand. As it turns out, people are using technology in really amazing ways everywhere. I recently had a chance to sit down with Travis Corrie from Aware down in Auckland, New Zealand. The Aware story involves rescuing endangered dolphins, cutting-edge AI and IoT devices, and one very unique employee. I'm excited today to share with you the Aware story. Travis, thank you so much for coming up from Hamilton today. I'm really excited to connect with you and learn a little bit about the Aware Group story.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Craig. It's great to meet you. It wasn't a very long drive up from Hamilton, thankfully, but yeah, it's a great little region. Very, very excited to be on the show today as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, before I jump into Aware Group, I'd actually love to get to know you a little bit. Do you mind sharing a little bit, maybe your role at Aware Group and kind of your journey and how you got here?
Yeah, absolutely. My role at Aware Group is Chief Commercial Officer. So basically, I look after our sales and marketing functions and also have quite a large role in our partnerships. We've got some main partners that we work with, Umbrella Pax8 being one of them, which is awesome, and Microsoft being the other one. Aware Group as a business has been around since end of 2016. So we're just over 6 years old now. And we've grown fairly well in that time. Always been based in Hamilton. That's where our headquarters is. And we've expanded globally, also domestically in New Zealand since then. We've got team members in Wellington, over in the US, and we've been supporting the APAC region through Singapore as well. I've been with the business for about 3.5 years now. It's gone super quick. I've learned a lot. My background, well, it's been in tech for the last sort of maybe 3 roles that I've had, probably making up maybe 8 years now. I'm not a technical person. I'm a sales guy. But I've held real various careers in the past. Back in Canada, where I'm originally from, I used to cut down trees, very cliche. I went to school to be a fireman, which was, the career I was going to choose, and kind of happenstance stumbled into the tech industry, coming into New Zealand, actually through the telco industry at first. Okay. And then, got into some roles around software and product software, and found myself at Aware Group, and it's been quite a journey since then.
Amazing. So you started out focused on firefighting.
That's right, yeah.
Now tech sales.
Yeah.
That seems like a pretty big leap. Was there anything that you've taken from one to the other, or is there a reason those two things fit together?
It's a great question. I often reflect on that myself because I like to look back on my days in like Fire Academy and the things that I learned as a young guy. Going through that, I was like 18 at the time. I thought I knew a lot back then. I was full of confidence. Bit of a cowboy attitude, I suppose. Nowadays, got a young son. He's 9 months old. Getting married next month. There's my life story. But it's I guess I've taken a lot of learnings from a lot of like physical and very difficult mental problems to overcome, and it has translated into the day-to-day career that I have now. Very different. I mean, you might get an email that you react to differently versus we roll up to a fire and it's a crazy scene. Sure. But I guess chaos and some management and stress management and people leadership translates into that as well. But I'm really thankful that I stumbled into the tech industry as well, because obviously, as we all know, it's massive growth potential. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Aware Group as a business is really cool. Like, we do some amazing things. We've got really clever people on staff, they come up with solutions that I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. And our customers love it as well, which makes my job real easy,
Sure.
which is pretty cool. So, yeah.
No, I love that. I can totally imagine. There's definitely been early days at Pax8 where I felt much closer to a firefighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Than tech, right?
Well, it's a term that gets thrown around quite a bit in tech too.
With that in mind, can you share a little bit about Aware Group? Maybe not only what you do, but specifically your mission, your purpose.
Yeah, our purpose at Aware Group is to enhance people and organizations through the ethical and sustainable use of emerging technology. We really take an ethical stance around everything that we do, because when we're dipping our toes into things like artificial intelligence and machine learning and even robotics, we're not quite at that point as a community where we have full confidence that it'll be done in the right way. So we always want to assess what it is we're doing that will have a good human impact or not when we're making our decisions. And then when we say a sustainable way, it's not around sustainability from a climate perspective, although that's also a decision we make. It's more around, if we're implementing a solution for this customer, is it going to make their business sustainable? Can they maintain it into the future? You know, does it future-proof them from a sustainable perspective? So that's always kind of been our driver behind what we're doing when we build out solutions for customers. And we've had a really wide-ranging suite of customers that we've worked with. It's been really cool. Globally, we've had customers in probably 15 or 16 different countries around the world, mainly focused in APAC and ANZ, but also in the US and in parts of Europe, ranging from like Fortune 500 companies down to SMEs of less than 10 people.
Amazing.
The cool thing is businesses of all shapes and sizes seem to face similar challenges that can all be solved, you know, in some way through technology. It's just uncovering what is that business problem or opportunity, distilling it down into a solution that is easily consumable, and then basically rolling it out for them. So,
love that. You know, hitting on this idea of globalization is super pertinent to what we're doing at Pax8 right now as well. So I'm curious from your experience, because you've got offices in 3 different countries, right? The US, Singapore, New Zealand. You said clients in 15. I'm sure you've noticed some trends. Maybe what have you noticed maybe where things are similar, but maybe some unique differences as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And just before I get into that, we have had some changes in our, I guess, makeup of where we're operating over the past couple of years. Our US-based operations up until the pandemic were largely focused on Microsoft's basically event ecosystem that they used to run. Lots of events, Ignite, Inspire, all of those things. And we have a really cool situation with Microsoft where we're a partner of theirs in their partner ecosystem, but they're also a customer of ours for some solutions and services. And that was around running some of their events. That all kind of changed in 2020. And so that's where that team was really focused. We do still have some people over there that help out with sort of, you know, marketing and product as well. And then Singapore was also very timely with the pandemic. Started setting up our physical office in February of 2020. And then the 3 people we had over there came back about a month later, the day before New Zealand's borders shut. And ever since then, physically, we haven't been able to actually get back and stand up that sort of bricks and mortar site, but we've been definitely supporting the region remotely. And we have been in person as well, making sure those relationships are there and developing business in the region. Where we've now pivoted a little bit is our expansion into Australia. And there's a lot of similarities in the cultures and the way that we do business between New Zealand and Australia. It's a little bit closer in terms of time zone and flights and all that kind of stuff as well, so that's nice.
Right.
So actually right now, our CTO and co-founder, Jordan, is based over in Sydney. He will be there for the medium term, and he did a 3-month stint just before Christmas as well last year. We're assessing the market. It's really, that go-to-market plan was accelerated with Microsoft's shift in New Zealand. So they used to be part of APAC, now they're part of ANZ. And it just makes sense to continue the alignment there. So we're really excited to see where that kind of goes. In terms of like a global perspective, kind of like what I was saying earlier, the work that we do is quite easily transferable across different clients, different cultures, different countries. To the benefit of the pandemic, remote working is just the norm these days.
When I was first introduced to Aware, a lot of cool stories. The one I was most excited to talk to you about is, I want to make sure I get this right. I've got a story that involves drones, artificial intelligence, and dolphins.
That's right. Yeah.
Could you talk a little about your partnership with Maui 63?
Yeah, absolutely. So Maui 63 is an awesome charitable organization that's basically been set up by a bunch of really clever people that want to protect the Maui dolphin, which is, I think, is native actually to New Zealand waters. Might need to fact check there. But the reason it's called Maui 63 is that there's only 63 left, very endangered species. And they were like, well, how do we help with the conservation efforts of this dolphin? And I guess the angle that they were playing is that, well, we can probably help track them better. So we know where they are, where their sort of spawning areas are, what movements they're taking through the oceans, and see if we can better protect them that way. So they went out and bought this insane drone, which like flies 200 kilometers an hour, way offshore. It's got basically hover capabilities where it goes up and down like a helicopter, but then flies like a plane. And then they strapped on this insane camera, which has amazing technological abilities, super high resolution video. And where we came in is us alongside a bunch of other partners like Microsoft, they got involved as well. We came in and helped them develop a computer vision model. So using all this footage they take, instead of going through it manually and going, oh, there's a dolphin, that one's probably different than that one, or that one's name is Bob, whatever. We basically created what's called a fin recognition model, which is just like facial recognition, but the dolphin's fin. So using unique identifiers and markings and sizes and all the sorts of clever stuff, we're able to identify which dolphin is which in the footage, and then we can serve that information back to the team and they can ascertain positioning and how far they've traveled and also count, making sure there's still 63 or maybe more.
Does that mean that Aware has, in addition to AI experts, you've got dolphin experts now? Did you guys build that model, or did you have to bring in outside consultants to teach you about dolphins? Or
yeah, the cool thing about sort of facial recognition and machine learning models using computer vision, and I'm, again, not an expert, so I won't go too deep into how it's done, but there's a lot of sort of off-the-shelf models that you can start with that get you maybe 90% of the way there, and then you fine-tune the model from there. And a lot of it is done through annotation. So you want to go through and get your footage. The more footage, the better is always what I'm told. Actually manually annotate, okay, this is a person or this is a dolphin's fin, and train that model, that computer model, and then you'll run it after that. And you want to basically do some reinforcement learning back to the model to make sure that it's continuously keeping accurate over time. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And I think I've heard of another story, because dolphins aren't the only animals that you guys have worked with. You've had a project with an employee named Spot.
Yes,
if I get that right.
Yeah. He's no longer on the payroll, unfortunately, but we did have Boston Dynamics Spot in the country for a couple of years, 2020 and 2021. Basically, our angle was we were acting as like a distributor in New Zealand for Spot when Boston Dynamics commercially released it globally. And we took it on numerous roadshows up and down the country. We sort of promoted its capabilities, and our angle was not only basically making this technology available for use, but we're interested in the payload that basically goes on the back of Spot. So Spot's a quadruped, it's called, as far as robotics go, payload unit. So basically you can send it into an environment where you wouldn't want to send a human being, or maybe it's a repetitive task or something like that. And you'd have a payload on the back of it to complete an outcome. So if it's a camera, you might have it detecting for hazards in a high hazard area. Or you could have on maybe like a multi-array sensor, so it could detect in a hazardous environment if there's gases in the atmosphere or something like that. One of the major use cases that we actually deployed Spot on, so we got to use it as well, was for the Christchurch Cathedral, which was heavily damaged in the earthquakes in 2011. And due to health and safety reasons, nobody was able to enter the site in the building itself since the earthquakes and since the search and rescue teams left. And that was like, 10 years after now. And so all the engineers are getting as much information as they can from drones. They're sending drones in, but they couldn't get the inside of the ceiling. So we sent Spot in with basically a BIM sensor on the back to get a building information model built. Teamed up with a couple of partners for it, and then we sent him through. And best thing about Spot is that you can climb over rubble and up and down stairs really well versus like a track or wheel-based robot. So they're able to capture a whole bunch of information on the inside. And then thankfully we got him out. He didn't lose comms or anything like that, which is the highest risk, because then we wouldn't be able to go and get it. But no, it was a really cool experience. I was fortunate enough, because I'm a sales guy, I was doing all these showcases with Spot. I got really good on the controls, and so I was the pilot for the mission. So that was probably one of the peak things in my career that I claim to fame, I suppose. And then it ended up getting picked up by 7 Sharp, which is a program from TVNZ. I think it's every Sunday. And I was interviewed on there, and we got to showcase Spot on national TV, which is quite cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How much fun is that?
That's
What's
awesome.
the controller look like with the pilot? I'm imagining like a PlayStation controller.
It kind of is like an Xbox controller, the one we had anyway, with a big sort of 7-inch LCD screen in the middle. So you can see it like this, but typically you don't want to really lose line of sight. But yeah, it's just got your joysticks and your kind of A, B, X, Y buttons, and you program in some different things to basically control Spot through that. The real way that you would control a robot like that in a real kind of scenario application would probably be through a robotics management platform, where you would actually set up a autonomous mission for the robot to go and achieve, and then it could work autonomously. So you didn't actually have to have somebody piloting it every time. But in this scenario, it is definitely pertinent to have somebody doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about AI, and so if I could, I want to shift to something super topical. I mean, ChatGPT is blowing up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, turn on the TV. I can't go online without somebody talking about applications and where it might move. Here's what do you guys think? What's this going to do to the industry? To the
yeah. It's really cool the amount of movement that's behind it at the moment. I mean, like you said, everybody's talking about it, and technologies like this don't always get that level of attention, which is quite interesting to see. Didn't take long for it to get mainstream, which is quite cool. And I think that's down to the accessibility of it. So language AI is, from what I understand, been around for decades now, maybe 30, 40 years as a technology. Now it's mainstream, and it's likely due to that fact that you basically can just go to a website, put your login details in, and you can interact with it. Doesn't matter how old or skilled you are.
Right.
Be 6 or 60, it's really easy to use, and they've made it accessible, obviously, for a reason. It's basically democratizing it, which is really cool. From our standpoint, and we've released a little bit of information around this recently, is we want to ensure that wherever we use it or leverage it or bring customers into using the technology like this or other technologies, it's done in the right way, an ethical way. So we've been keeping the finger on the pulse for the last kind of 6 months or so on the particular service of ChatGPT. And where we see a value add from our perspective anyway at this point is really around the education for large enterprise and even public sector customers around if they wanted to adopt this within their business or a variation of it, how do they do that? Because there's the open source model, which anybody can access now. From a scalability perspective, it just doesn't match up from an enterprise grade integration. So where we're coming at it is from basically an educational session. So get your hands on it. We'll basically ideate and envision how it can enable you as a business. We've got some pretty cool ideas that we can bring to the table as well, and the customer would. And then we'll come with an outcome and basically run a POC or some sort of value exercise after that. Yeah, we would act as like an integrator, if you will.
Yeah.
That service. Yeah.
I love that. Very cool. So I have to ask you, I know that your headquarters are in Hamilton, and unfortunately I've not had a chance to get down there. It's my second trip to New Zealand. Have not had a chance to leave Auckland yet.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, Hamilton's is a smaller town, 150,000 or so people.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this mix of Hamilton with this world-class, super technical, super high-end AI shop. What do I not understand about Hamilton or what you guys are doing or how you're approaching?
Yeah, and it's you're asking the right person, because being from Canada, I'm not native to Hamilton either, but it ends up being the place that I call home, and I've lived there ever since I immigrated to New Zealand like 8 years ago now. It's a really interesting place. We've got a close proximity to Auckland, like an hour and a half drive up the highway. We've also got a really talented, I guess, pool of people down there. There's a really world-class University of Waikato based there. There's also a couple of awesome sort of technical skills institutes, Wintech and some others, that are all being sucked into a national body at the moment, but that aside. And there's some amazing tech companies as well. There's an area of Hamilton that's called Innovation Park, and it's kind of an R&D area where there's a lot of, quite trailblazing companies based. And yeah, quite a young population as well, which I think is also key to being successful in tech. I mean, the reason we are founded there is pretty easy. Our co-founders, Jordan and Brandon, are both from there, and both were working there at the time. So, I mean, organically, that's just where we started and set up shop. So, yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. I think maybe to tie this off, I know that partnerships are key to everything, and you guys have been working with Umbrella for a long time, which is how we got to meet you. Mm-hmm. Can you describe what the Aware Umbrella relationship has been, and how have you guys leveraged one another?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been an awesome partnership. I've been fortunate to be involved in the partnership for a couple of years now. Not immediately when I got into Aware Group, but getting to know the team and sort of the business that they operate in within the Microsoft ecosystem, and how they can enable partners like ourselves to further enhance the relationship and the offerings that we give our customers through CSP, Cloud Solution Provider offerings, has been awesome. We continue to strive to offer that to a wider range of customers that we serve, because we really do believe in like an end-to-end solution that we provide our customers. If we can help them with the whole raft of business challenges they might be facing, it's just better in an end result. And Umbrella, the team has been so, I guess, just behind our growth and making sure that we succeed and always helping. There's never been a time where we've been, worried about going to them with questions or anything like that. They'll always try and point us in the right direction. And typically they have the answers, but even if they don't, they'll try and find out for us, which has been really cool. And they've been behind us, like backing us with all the moves that we've been doing in terms of, going into Australia market. They've been there, cheering us on as well, and connecting us up with yourselves at Pax8 has been amazing as well. So yeah, really happy about our partnership together.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. Travis, this is such an incredible interview, and Aware is doing unbelievable things.
I really appreciate it.
Really excited to learn from you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
Through the use of artificial intelligence, robotics, and a whole lot of innovative thinking, the Aware team is delivering exceptional customer service, saving marine wildlife, and even improving the safety of frontline workers. I'd like to thank Travis for coming on and sharing the Aware story. We'd like to wish Travis and the rest of that incredible Aware team continued success. If you're a partner with a unique journey or a story to tell, we want to hear from you. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or drop a comment down below. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here to take you on the journey, both live and on demand. Always. Until next time, enjoy your journey.